we got some news that it's sad. And I know it's going to make all the folks listening sad. And, I wanted to start the show a little upbeat because I knew when I said this, it was going to be difficult. We've been doing this a long time. And if I were to say to you, who's the caller that's been here listening the longest, that has called the longest, that I feel like the most positive connection to for somebody I don't know well, it's probably this person. But we found out this morning that JT has passed away. I don't have details of what happened, but we know he's been sick for a long time. You folks that have been listening for a long time know he's called for years, and with the Cal's Got This,
yeah.
During all those years, he'd call post-game shows after big wins. When there was a bar in Louisville where Kentucky fans would get together, he was at every game. He came to the opening of my bar, which was very exciting for people. And he's just been a bright light. Went to Kentucky State. When Kentucky played Kentucky State, the university gave him tickets right behind the bench. And I don't know that I've ever seen him happier than that night. Watching that game, he had Kentucky State gear on, but he also obviously loved Kentucky. He was just a great man and one of these people who brought joy into everybody's life. We used to joke, Shannon, about how it's his phone. He had the worst phone.
That's right, yeah. Sounded like he was revolving around.
It always sounded like he was on like a Ferris wheel, and his phone was in one place, and he would go away from it, and then he would go back to it. And every call, of course, began with, hey. Mm-hmm. And when I got the news right before the show, it's a gut punch. Now, his friend, Eric, is on the phone. Eric is somebody who would take him to places, take him to games, etc. Shannon, is Eric there?
Yes.
Eric, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to add, JT was a Vietnam veteran, and his son informed me yesterday that he had passed. And, JT, I met, he was working at a job at an office building I worked at security, and he was watching The Wire. And I'd heard JT on your radio show say his son worked on The Wire. And I said, that's a good show. And he said, yeah, my son worked on The Wire. I said, well, you're JT. And that was 9 years ago. And from that time on, I spoke to JT probably 3 times a week. And, like you said, Matt, you and Shannon were good to JT. Like you said, you invited him to the bar for the opening for your 40th birthday party. And we came up, and Dwayne Peavy was there, as you mentioned, and Dwayne was friends with a lady I knew, him and his wife, and Dwayne said, if we ever play K-State, JT will get you some tickets. And sure enough, he contacted Shannon when the game was scheduled, and Shannon got in touch with Dwayne, you guys did, and he thought the world of you guys. And JT had kidney problems, and that's what a lot of his issue was, and he was in a lot of pain. And I got to take him to dinner and got him a haircut a week or so ago, and spent a lot of time with JT, and we're going to miss him. And he loved you guys, and he loved the callers, and he loved the cat, and he was full of stories. He used to tell me when he lived in L.A. about Wade Houston and Leonard Hamilton, and all those guys were his buddies, and they used to come out of L.A. and recruit, and he was full of stories, and was just a great guy.
Well, we loved him too, and let me say about you, I mean, that's friendship, man. To meet somebody and take him, I think it'll make me cry, take him to get a haircut and help him with the daily parts of his life. And I watched you with him a number of times, and you were so sweet to him. I've actually used the analogy about you before, the way I see Herb Street on TV, Ryan, be with Corso.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I always felt like you were with JT, and I always appreciated it from afar. And, we loved him. All of us did. I mean what I said. I'm not sure that somebody I didn't know well outside of this air, I felt sort of more kinship to than him. And I hope, Eric, I hope you'll let us know the arrangements for everything, if you would. Let me and let Ryan, Shannon, and I know, and Drew. But thank you very much for calling. And I know it's got to be difficult for you. So God bless you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'll definitely know. His son's supposed to let me know the arrangements, and I told his son that I was going to call in, and he was really excited to, for me to do that and let you guys know. So we'll definitely keep you informed.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
That's tough.
Yeah, it is. And so it's tough in situations like this because it's hard to then sort of move on. But I do want to we're going to take an early break. I just wanted to take a second to honor him. This show, we get a lot of criticism for a lot of things, but this show also creates a community.
Yeah.
And it creates a community where there's a ton of people listening all over this state and country who never met him and who only know him from hearing his voice. And I'm sure you feel the same way we do. So rest in peace to JT, one of the best Kentucky fans I know. We'll be right back.
Hi, yes. I just wanted to call in about JT because I promised him I would. I met him before I knew of KSR. He introduced me to KSR. He was kind enough to let me join him at the Kentucky State game, basketball game, preseason exhibition, and I've never seen him happier. And you were very nice to him that night, Matt. I remember him going down to meet you on the floor, and you were very nice to him. And so thank you for everything you've done. He loved you.
Well, I loved him.
He loved to tell me old stories about Big Blue Country, game watching in that place in Louisville there across from the volleyball courts. And at his request, I just took him back there recently.
Did you?
For lunch. We didn't know. We knew it was a new place. We didn't know anything other than.
Isn't it like it's a taco place now, right?
Yes, they serve tacos.
Yeah, well, I hope he had a good taco.
Well, it was different. We got there and it was. I mean, he was struggling to walk, and but we got there. But it was more akin to some of those brunches that you've had some controversies with.
Maybe you picked That's kind of funny. You picked an interesting day to go. Well, that's okay.
Well,
let me ask you.
As always, JT went with it, though.
Yes, he did.
He never met a stranger, and we walked in there, and we were a little, surprised at the ambiance. But he made friends with everybody. Like, so wait, but now
that's a great thing. So you're telling me you guys walked into a restaurant. It was a drag brunch. You didn't know it, and by the end, JT was friends with everybody.
Everybody that walked.
Shannon, that's him right there, isn't it?
No doubt.
Absolutely.
That is him. Yep. That is completely him. You're exactly right. He was kind to every person he made. I love that. That is so completely JT.
Yep.
Yes, I agree. So I wanted to share that story. Anyway.
So let me. I want to say one thing to you before you go. I know who you are now that you say that. And the same thing I said to Eric, you were so kind to him. I remember seeing you at that game, and you mentioned the Big Blue Country. When we beat, I guess, North Carolina in 2011 to go to the Final Four in Newark, I did the postgame show in a cab going back to New York City. And he would call during that run from Big Blue Country. And he called that show, and I could hear the people celebrating in the background. And I remember him saying, "This is one of the best days of my life. I'm surrounded by all these wonderful people, and we're celebrating the Cats." And when I read the news this morning, I thought of that because that really was his element at that moment. And I know he's having similar celebrations today in heaven. So God bless you and all his friends.
He told me he's going to pull some strings if he can.
I agree. I love it. Thank you very much. There's somebody on the phone we have not heard from in a long time. And I'm sure it's because of JT. Fake Barney is on the phone. Fake Barney, how are you?
Hey, guys. My voice is gone. I've got like an upper respiratory thing going on. But Tyler texted me about JT, and I just had to call in because there's not many of us that have been around since day one. And JT is always going to be special to me. And I know to you guys, it's been a long time since I've seen you guys, and just work schedule being what it is, it's tough for me to call in, but I listen on podcasts every day. I'm going to miss JT, and I miss you guys, and I just got to be thinking about just how much this show just means to everybody and how it bringing us together, and people that would have never met otherwise from all over the place. And JT was part of that, the original kind of crew. And Tyler texted me this morning, and I had to jump off of my work call just to call in for you guys, to say hey to you guys, tell you that I miss you, and I'm going to miss JT telling us the Cows got this. Anyway,
I appreciate it.
Have to call in.
I'm glad you said that, because I remember the first day I did this show sitting in Louisville. Back then it was only on in Louisville. And then I think a few weeks later it was on in like Morganfield, and that was it. Or is it Morgantown? I always get them confused, right? Which one was it?
Well, I do too. I get them confused.
It was
all the
one
time.
of the two of them. I don't know which one it was. But in those early days, now it's hard to get in. There's a ton of people that listen, and I'm very thankful. But in those early days, there were only some. And I'd talk to the same people a lot. You were one of them. JT was one of them. Handsome Jimmy was one of them. What was the guy's name that would call and always give me a hard time? The Louisville fan.
Slapnuts.
Yes, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin. What happened to him?
I don't know, man.
I mean, I haven't heard from him in years. But anyway, all those people have a very special spot in my heart, and I appreciate you calling. You are certainly one of those.
Well, I appreciate that, Matt, and I'll let y'all guys put everybody through listening to my upper respiratory.
That's all right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Give JT one quick fake Barney. Hey.
Thank you very much. Go to Luther. What's going on, Luther?
Yo, Matt.
Yes.
Long time, my brother.
What's going on, stranger?
Oh, nothing much. I've been listening to the show. I always listen, but JT was like there with a lot of us, in the very beginning, and so it sucks to hear something like that. And,
he would be very happy, Shannon, that we're hearing these voices from the past.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like if he would be
time.
very happy if we can look who's sitting on line 8.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
I remember when you did that night show in the very, very beginning at like 6:00 in the evening.
Yeah.
On a different station.
That was at a different station.
I mean?
That was by myself. That was a terrible show. I wasn't very good at that. Yeah.
But it was the beginning, and it was awesome because you let us just say what the heck we wanted. It was crazy. It was awesome. And so, it sucks to hear that kind of stuff. You're awesome. Your crew's awesome. And, all of us long timers that don't call anymore, we appreciate it, and go Cats. And you know how I end it. Woo!
Thank you, man. Hink, man, good to hear from you. What's up?
What's going on, big buddy? How you doing, brother?
Tough day.
Yeah, I see, man. I heard, man. I'm sorry to hear about this news about JT, man. Oh, hey.
Yes, that's right.
Man, every time he say it, man, that get to me, man. So, man, sorry for the loss, man. An OG like that, man, we hate to hear that type of news. But, man, there's always a better place for us to all rest when it's our time. So,
that's exactly right.
How it goes, man.
I obviously, when we walked in here, did not expect this show to go like this, but I do appreciate everybody calling, and I want to thank JT for all the many years of calling this show and for all the many years of being a friend. It's you would have never made me believe when we started this that random people from all over the state would have the effect on me that they do. And JT was one of the best. And God bless him. And God bless all of you all. I needed this today. As sad as this is, you don't know how much it means. We'll see you later.